Well, you know what I mean. It's raining outside. Just got the roof done in time. You know, from what I can remember, from years and years and years now, that I spent almost 20 years out in Alberta, Canada. And I started off working at a place called Tornado for $19 an hour. I did. And I was there bending tubes, like instrumental tubing. You bend it for these oil vessels. They wanted somebody to bend tubing, and I was pretty good at it, you know what I mean? But I put a lot of overtime. You know, I go get my paycheck. The East Coast go get that paycheck, and I figured out what I, approximately would have, and it wasn't so. My numbers didn't jive with the paper figures that they give me, called a check formation. They give me a check with the money that was owed to me. And I checked the hours. Well, they kind of, you know what you mean? I hate to say it, but they kind of gun ripped me off. So I went back and approached them the following week, and I said, yeah, I think you got a little mix up on the hours, you know what I mean? And they said, what's that? And I told them, they said, well, that's what the bosses told us. I said, yeah. I said, well, the boss wasn't there after hours, because I was putting on 10, 12 hours a day. I wasn't working no 8 hours a day. And back then, there was no punch time clocks. We had to write it on the card. And there's always somebody around there, right? Somebody. But I know what I did. And they know what they did. So I said to myself, Self, what are you going to do? Well, I said, I'm done. I told Fred. Fred was there working. He was a welder in that shop. And Fred said, you ain't going to quit. You ain't quitting, are you? I said, yep. I'm quitting right now. I'm walking home. So I was staying at Fred's at the time. Fred and Pat's. And I went, yep. I walked home. East Coast walked home, you know what I mean? I walked home and I got in the house and I opened the veranda window and I sat into a seat and I stuck my feet right out the veranda window. And Laura and Pat was there and they said, what are you doing home? I said, quit. Oh man, quit. What? What about Fred? Oh, Fred's staying. Oh yeah, Fred's the welder, yeah. I said, I want to check my hours, and they didn't pay me what I worked. And I mentioned it to them, and they wouldn't rectify that gun situation. So, I stuck my feet out. Fred come home, said, hey, Fred had a great answer. Said, hey, you made her home this year. I said, yep. And they said, yeah, that was something, wasn't it? They wouldn't pay your hours. I said, nope. I said, I don't put up with that stuff. So, we all went for a walk one day. We did a lot of walking back then, 20 years ago. Did a lot of walking. And, there was a bicycle. I'm burning up I'm smoking up the house. I'm supposed to, look at there. I get talking, telling stories. Look, my burner's hot. That's okay. That burner's some red in it. I turned it down some. What I want to do, I might pour out this fat. I get telling stories, and the only thing that caught me off guard, you know what I mean, was the smell. Look at that. I don't like that rain. I don't like that rain going on. Oh. You know, that's pretty hot, doesn't it? That with it. That's how we do it. We pour it right out. Now, this is a brand new pan I just bought. Look at the house all smoked up. That's okay. It'll all work out. Why open this window? Oh, there we go. This was smoke. Now, let's get some wired. Let's continue on the story. You fellas like my stories. Let's tell the story right. So we all went for a walk. We all went for a walk that night, y'all. Then there's a bicycle on the side of the road. And I forget her name. It'll come to me. She had a stroke, this woman. Her side of her face was, she couldn't move side of her face, so she had a little speech impediment there a little bit. And let's get some liver in there. Let's pull this liver back, this bloody liver. Beef liver. Let's hear that baby sizzle. Put all that blood in there. Yeah, what are you doing? You smell it. No? Doesn't smell too rank. I think I had it in the fridge for 5 days. I don't know. Smell it again. Well, I think it's got to be ate out. Let's just say that. Oh, tempted to eat it up. Oh, it wanted to get on that stove. It wanted to get on the stove. You know how things want to do something? I find blood makes things stink anyway. I should light that fire. I should light that fire. It'll wash my hands, rinse my hands off. Anyway, you know what I mean? So let's go for a walk. So we went for a walk. And there's a bicycle. Kathleen, her name is Kathleen. More of those. That thing's splashing everywhere because all over all of them are beautiful antiques. Hey, Kathleen. I don't know. It'll come to me. Anyway, she had a bicycle on the side of the road. And Laura said, "Name it." She said, "Ask her. Go see how much she wants for that bicycle." No, I said, no, she said, what she said? I said, "You want that bicycle?" She said, "I wouldn't mind having." I said, "Go ask her." Go ask her. And she went to the door. Me and Fred and Pat stayed on the side of the road. I don't know, it was about 200 feet away. Maybe, close to it. Not quite, 150 feet away. So she hollered back, she said, she wants to sell it. I said, yeah. $250. $250. And I said, $250? Was it made of gold? But it was supposed to be a special bike. It would have to be $250. So I said, no. She told Laura, she said, what would he offer? What? She said, wants to know what you offer. I said, $100. Huh? $100. He wants to offer you $100. Ooh, $100. $100, that's quite low. $200. She said, $200. I'll holler back, nope. $125. Then she got a kick out of it. She thought that was something. Well, she said, it's like a game. So she said, well, I'll take $75. And I hollered back and I said, nope, I'm stopping. Buck stops here at $150. He said he only wants to pay $150. She said, laughed. She said, well, I got to sell it to him. I never seen any dealing like that. She said she was old then. And she's still living, I think. She's in the 90s. Catherine Watasco. No, Watasco. Catherine. Oh, crap. Sorry, forget it. Anyway, she's still out there. She goes out and she got an old car she get promised to somebody, no, or the Oldsmobile Tornado Oldsmobile in the 80s. But anyway, I bought that bicycle. So I looked at a roof. What I'm getting at is I looked at a roof. And I said, ask her if she wants a roof shingle. Huh? Ask her if she wants a roof shingle. She said, Britt wants to know if you want your roof shingle. And she looked up, and I heard her talking, but I couldn't understand what she was saying, so I just waited to come back. So she came with a number, or paper, and she told me, Lord said, here's a paper, you call this guy up, project management, and he owes her a new roof because the roof shingles wasn't done right, or there's warranty on the roof, and he gave this old woman a warranty that he was going to replace all this roof. So, but the shingles went bad quite quick, I guess. The shingles went bad quite quick. And, yeah, so the roof went bad quite quick, and so I called project management, and he said, "Don't mind me making this. I'm trying to set you on a tripod, okay, guys? Hold on a second. There. He, I went to see project management, Mr. Dave Hagen. We sat down. I said, "Yeah, I heard that we got talking." He said, "Yeah, I heard that you might be coming over." Because Kathleen said she met you or whatever. I said, "Oh yeah." He said, "You do roofing, do you?" I said, "Yeah, I do." He said, "So you roofed before?" I said, "Oh yeah, back to the East Coast, I did." Right on. And what do you charge? How do you do it? And I told him what I do. And I told him what I wanted. I said, what's the going? What do you guys pay? He said, we pay the average going rates. So oh yeah, what's that? He said $45 a square. I went $45 a square. But he said tear off is $20 a bundle. That's $60. A square is 10 feet by 10 feet. That's a square footage. And 3 bundles of asphalt or fiberglass shingles does 10 by 10 roughly. It goes 33.33 square feet per bundle, and it's 3 bundles, that's a square. So if you're gonna do or take the shingles off, you pay $20 a bundle. So I said, oh yeah, $20 a bundle. Man, that don't seem like much. That's what you pay if you don't wanna. If you don't wanna, you know how these people are. Sit behind a desk. I went, man, I said, let's quit my job. And I can work, and I can roof. So I made $19 an hour. They ripped me off hours worked, overtime hours, so I was being stole from. I had to work for the people, put up with all the stuff. I'm gonna shut this off. Then I'm gonna take this. I got some half raw good beef here. I'm gonna put this beef in there. Heat that up. Wash this dish. So I said, well, okay. So we've been on that roof. Me and Laura went on that roof. I said, you gotta come work.
She said, what? So she did. And get on that roof. First roof. It was a bungalow house. He said, I said, I got no truck. I never even owned a truck. I just got out there. I never even owned the truck. Apparently I bought a bicycle. And this was like years ago. 20 years ago. So we got on. She was never on a roof before. And at that time, it was the weather was pretty hot. It was 100 and right on the back of that bungalow. It was on 49th Street. Right on that back of that building, the house, the bungalow. Bungalow is something around 40 to 50 bundles a house. Roof for a house. Okay, let's say this again. A bungalow house is just a small house. Is approximately 40, let's say 15 square. 15 square is 45 bundles. So between 15 and 20 square, somewhere in that area, is a bungalow, roughly. Give or take, right? Anyway. I laid down, I think, I jumped the gun. So I said, let's come up the roof. And it was I looked at that dial. There's a dial about that big on the deck. And I went, look at that dial. It can't be that hot. Well, it's so hot, my hand will go on the asphalt, and I had to take it off. You could literally take an egg and put it on there, and she'd fry. Anyway, looked at the dial. 125 degrees. Man. So I said, well, Laura, come on up. And she got to the top rung, and she said, I can't come up. And I said, what do you mean? She said, I can't come up. She said, I'm going up there. I can't do it. I said, yes, you can. Come on. She said, no, I can't. Yes, you can. No, I can't. Yes, you can. No, I can't. Leave me alone. Let me get my own. She had to get it. He had to get it, right? It's people, when they scared of heights, they gotta get it. You gotta get it. Once you get it, you build up and the first step when you get to hold on and get it. So I made sure I had a hold of her, and I said, go on, when you're ready, then she come out. She did it. She got right up and sat there on top of the peak, freaking out and whatever. And then she started laughing a bit. I said, well, you took you a while. Once you get up. Well, after that, man, she could climb them ladders and do anything she wanted. But it's fear. You got to face your fears in life. But anyway, get back to the roof. This was like 20 years ago more now. Oh, yeah. Must be. So, I had no job. I had a job. I quit my job because they was doing that to me. The old East Coast, you know. Would you stand for somebody taking hours from you? Standing on concrete, the cement, my body's not meant to stand on cement. I just can't. I'm not made that way. It's hard on my back, and I just can't do it. And you wear boots right out pretty fast, scruffing your feet along the pavement or the cement. So anyway, that was that. So I got working, and she was never on the roof, and I wasn't the fastest back then. I was fast, but I wasn't like I am now. I can say that now because I got experience, but you know how it works. So 2 days for the back of the roof to do it. 2 half days. We didn't work long days. We worked about 6 hours, I think, maybe 7. I think we worked. So we borrowed he had a big dump trailer and his truck, and I took his truck and dump trailer and backed it up to the house so we could throw the waste in it. So we got all that done. And 2 days for the back, so we lugged it over the back and we threw it in. And then the third day, she got faster. She got more, and I got better, and we all got better. One day. Now, mind you, we didn't have to lug the shingles to the back, so that made a big difference. But still, 3 days. Okay. There was approximately what? At that, there was 55 bundles or something like that. So you do your multiplication. It's 20. So 20 times 60 is 1,200. So it's just under 60. It's like 57, 58. Yeah. So I got the job done, and he took it to the dump. I didn't have to. He did, and he said, "Come get your pay." That one house, 3 days. So they wrote me a check for $1,100 and almost $1,200, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was around close to $1,200 because I think he paid $10, $5 a vent to put a vent in was $5 or $8 or some low price at the time. But so I looked at that money. I looked at her, and I said, "Well, don't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out. I made that much money by working for myself, working hard. Both of us got that done. Don't have to work for the man. Don't have to put up no foolishness. Too many minds. I don't like working around too many minds. Just too much gabber, and this one did that, and who's doing that, and you know how that works. You tell a story on 50 people on the line. You start with a story there, and the story changes 6 billion times to the other end. Well, basically, it's almost like that. That one did that. This one did that. You see that? I don't like to hear that stuff. I don't want to hear that. So I like working for myself. So I said, "Well, man, they're like, I couldn't even make that. I had to work there. I don't know how long. I would have had to work a long time, especially taking hours from me. And then they take all the taxes and all that stuff out. Oh yeah, the government. So I said, well, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to start roofing." And things got better and better and better and better and better. The whole family got at it, and we just gave her. And then my family started growing. They moved on. They did other things. Yeah. I remember one time, all 5 of us jumped in a short wheelbase Ford Aerostar van, one of the crappiest vans going. Tough, I liked them, but the transmissions go. All loaded down for gear. 5 people, 5 family, shot. Almost 2 hours away, one way. We got up at 5 or 4 in the morning. I think 5 or 4 in the morning. And we shot. We had some McDonald's, some coffees, and we shot right to the mountains, right to Rocky Mountain House, past Rocky Mountain House. Steep house. No, that's not the one. I think it was up in the Macomb area, I think. So that would have been about an hour and a half away. Yeah, an hour and a half away to Macomb. The other one was 2 hours. So it was an 83 bundle house. We stripped it, threw it down. She picked up all the shingles. She picked up 80 some bundles of shingles, threw them on the dumpster. It had a dumpster. A lot of hard work, man. The kids worked hard, and I worked hard. And I paid the kids good. I gave them a good chunk of change for that. One day, we landed home. It was dark when we were still shingling. We shingled off with a light, lamps, and never had a call back or complaint. We landed home at 10 o'clock at night. Now that was a long day. It was too much. So I was too potent. I was too potent. I calmed down quite a bit since then. Yeah. And then I got so that they all started dwindling off. Then it got right at the end to be me. And I found the transaction at. Wait a minute. Something on the throat. I found a transition from a family to 3 people to 2 people to 1 person was it come in stages. But then I had a little rough time doing it myself because I was used to having people help me. Once I got past that hump, I soon work alone. But this roof I just did, Darren said he's got a week off, and he said you need any help, and that put a little light under my butt. Plus I'm on the old carnivore diet, the lion diet, and I've been feeling so much better, so much energy. And then I got the electrolytes. I'll show you here in a second. I ordered these off Amazon. LMNT. This flavors really good. Really good for you, for electrolytes in your body. And you know, I never had that stuff in my life. Well, I started taking the carnivore diet and feeling good. Then I started taking this, and it was so friggin' hot the last few days up on that roof. I wasn't winded. I wasn't tired. Yes, I was sweaty. Salt was running in my eyes, so I had my handkerchief wiping my eyes off. That stuff pulled me through. That stuff right there. Yep, it pulled me through. Putting your potassium, magnesiums, and whatever else is in it, no sugar, it's just a beautiful thing. So if you guys think that you're run down and you're working and you don't, you think water's to kick, you need salt in your body. This here has salt in it, has everything you need to bring you back. Look at me. I'm hitting on 61 years old, and I was telling Darren and Craig, the owner at the house, and I couldn't stop being giddy. I said, I don't understand. I feel like I'm in my 20s or 30s. Well, not the 20s, but as of right now, I feel like I was early 40s, late 30s, being in good shape. But then again, when I was in my 30s, my 40s, I was about, when I was roofing, I was about 200 pounds, 210, 205. One time I went up to 230 and I fell through a roof of the boards. The woods was rotten. I fell right through the roof, one of them old chimneys that they replaced, and I fell right in and caught myself. And guess what? I weigh quite a bit less. And I was walking on them boards. I never said nothing, but I fell. I don't think I did. I fell through the roof there. Craig was down below. Darren was there doing something. I said, hey! And I was pulling myself out. He said, you just fell on that roof? I said, yeah, I caught myself, man. Falling through a roof at 61 almost, and falling through the roof at 30 something or 40 something is a little bit different. You know what I mean? But I feel really good, and it's only getting better. And I eat animal organs. Look at that! I got animal organs in there. I got liver. I never put no salt, no pepper. Just strictly that. And it's going to be, it's going to be quite a thing. So I went on my own. So we got that check. That money. We went to Walmart. Walmart just opened up in an area out there in Alberta. Just opened up. And there was no Kijiji, Craigslist. There was no texting. No FaceTime. There was just a cell phone that just come out, the big ones, the floppy one. Yeah. That's lard, eh? Lard's good for you, guys. Don't ever think that lard's bad for you. I'm telling you right now, don't think that. Let's go here. I should shut this door. Stop raining now. I laid down for a little bit. I was tired today. We finished that job up, Darren and I. Darren was tired. Darren only gave me a couple of days, but he told his wife Candy, he said, Brent, if you wanted to come up, I'll come up, but I could help Brent finish it, whatever. She said, well, you do what you got to do. She said, I'm fine with everything. So he stayed to the end. Troubadour, man. I'm gonna pay him good too. Oh yeah. So get back to that roofing. So I got back to that roofing and I got that check. So we went to Walmart, and I opened this paper called a bargain hunter, and I opened it up and I was going through the pages. That was the internet. That was the Kijiji in the paper. So I was going through there, and seen this truck, 1971 GMC Custom, 3/4 ton, long wheelbase, 8.5 or 9 foot bed, nice tires, matching tires, and a big dent was in the side of the door, like a buffalo trucker, side tail up way up north. And I'll tell you, it was blue with a white top. And told her, I said, I'm going up. I'm gonna call this guy up. So I called him up, and he wanted. What do you want for that truck? 14 or 1,500 bucks. He says running and everything. And I only had $1,000 to spare. First check. Oh, I said, my goodness gracious. I said, I'd like to have that truck. So I called him up. No texting and no emails. I said, listen, told him the story. I said, I just started out. I want to know if you take, all I got's $1,000 and I got to find a way up there to get it. He said, you come up. I'll sell you the truck. If you want the truck, I'll sell it to you. So I went up. Somebody took me up, I think. Somebody took me up or something. Way up. Lloydminster. Yeah, Lloydminster. Way up there, then I bought the truck, brought it home, had it for quite a while. And December the 1st, years and years ago, after the Twin Towers, we went out after the Twin Towers busted up, then we come home, went back out. So a couple years after the Twin Towers, I drove the truck home. Took 5 days in a blizzard to start the blizzard out in Alberta where we was living, and it took 5 days to get home, and the blizzard followed me the whole way. Wind, it was so cold that it was blowing so hard from the nor'easter in Saskatchewan that the wind would, them doors were only about that thick in them old trucks, and they're all steel, there's no insulation. The wind would go right straight through that window and right through that door, and the heater was wide open, and she would be getting the heat on that side, and I would be freezing. So geared up an old pillow or something, and put or quilt or something, or a coat, and put it there as a buffer, and that warmed me up a little bit. And I drove, first time I drove, and I drove and drove, and I'll tell you, I don't like to tell you, but I'll tell you, I drove 31 hours. 31 hours straight. Then we was going through, was just getting in, or starting to get into Ontario or somewhere. And I looked at there's a big field. And I looked over at her and I said, you see that? She said, what? Oh, you see that big whale? The big whale and a mummy whale. They're coming out of the water. They're swimming. She said, "What you say?" I said, "There's a mother whale and his baby are swimming." She said, "Pull over on the side of the road! You're going to get his cow, huh?" Whoa! I guess I must have been hallucinating. So, end up going to one of them crazy hotel motel things that you got to check underneath the bed to see if there's any leftovers. You know what I mean? They do the dirty work and it's leftovers. It's a different story. So, that's all I got to say about that. Time for East Coast to eat. East Coast, Canada, Nova Scotia. Getting back to y'all from all over the states, the good old United States of America and good old Canada, and all over Hero Township worlds. God bless you. May you be a blessing. And smile. The world will smile with you. Here we go.